What is up, guys? Giants01 here with another FIFA 19 tutorial. Today we're going to be talking about passing, and this is going to be more than just a regular passing tutorial. It's going to be an advanced passing tutorial, so it's not just going to talk about the controls for certain passes, but actually when to use certain passes and how to actually improve your possession and make sure you can move the ball from the back to the front and into those goal scoring opportunities. This is going to be all online gameplay, guys. Seen way too many examples of this in the demo or previous builds. It's going to be in the final build, online gameplay, advanced examples, guys. As always, though, make sure to check out all my previous tutorials if you haven't done so already, and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss out on any future ones. It is very, very important to be effective with your passing. Always pass with a purpose. Don't just pass to pass. So here I'm seeing a situation, the defender's right up on me. He's pushing and pulling and take me off the ball if I don't pass the ball. So I quickly look for someone, pass him the ball, and then I look here. Key thing in FIFA 19, you can now see who the defender is controlling. So it's very, very important that you move those players out of position. You want to sort of bait him. So I see a person's making a run for my team and he's wide open. So I do a quick 1-2 pass with the purpose of moving the control player by my opponent. And that's exactly what happens. Now he's caught in a situation where he has to defend two players, the guy with the ball and the guy making a run. So I'm just looking at what he's doing, seeing what he's going to do, and trying to react quickly. If he decides to come out towards the guy that has the ball, then I know I'm going to pass the ball. If he decides to stay back and try to stop that pass, then I'm going to keep going without sprinting, just keep going with the guy with the ball and try to get into a goal scoring opportunity. In this case, he decides to let that pass. I time it perfectly and I'm able to score. Guys, I know it sounds really obvious, but I've seen way too many times where people are messing up their passes because they're not facing their teammate, or at least facing where they want the ball to go. Here in this situation, I'm going to do a through ball, so I don't necessarily have to face my teammate, but I do have to face where I want the ball to go. Otherwise, it is not going to be accurate and it's not going to be powerful. It's going to be very easy for the defender to intercept. Another situation, once again, perfect facing the teammate, and because of that it was accurate and powerful. But here you're seeing I am not looking towards my player. I am not looking where the ball's gonna go. Instead, I'm gonna try to do a through ball, and you see a defender somewhere in the vicinity, and if the defender's anywhere near that vicinity, he's gonna be able to intercept the ball because it's not gonna be powerful and it's not gonna be accurate. So if you find yourself losing possession a lot and doing really bad passes, keep in mind where are you facing prior to pressing the button to pass the ball. Something extremely, extremely important, guys. You have to realize FIFA is a video game. It is not completely realistic. That means if there's ever a time where there's a defender relatively close to you, relatively in that passing lane or near that passing lane, they will stop the pass. They will bend in ridiculous ways as if they don't have bones. This is a video game. So if there's someone in the passing lane or near the passing lane, expect it to be taken away. Do not think that even though there's a person right in the passing lane, if I pass it hard enough or somehow curve it around him, it is not going to work. You're not going to curve it around him, and you're not going to pass it hard enough that he's not at least going to get a deflection on the ball. So keep that in mind. It's a huge mistake I find people making. In order for you to be successful in that passing, you have to know when to do through balls and when to do regular passes. A through ball is done by pressing the Y button or the triangle button if you're on PlayStation, and the regular pass is done by pressing the A button or the X button on PlayStation. Alright, so let's look at some examples. Here you're seeing a situation. You see that there is some space in front of my player. So a lot of people would think maybe I should be doing the through ball. But you see that defender, even though, like I said before, even though there is some space and maybe you thinking if I do a really, really low power through ball, it's going to go in the perfect position where my guy doesn't have to slow down, but still in time that he can react to that defender and the defender won't get there in time. It will not work in FIFA 19 90% of the time. Do not do it. Instead, pass the ball with a regular pass. Even if your attacker, your teammate, has to slow down a bit, it is better than trying to do a through ball here, because even if your teammate gets to that through ball before that defender, as soon as he touches the ball, the defender is going to be right in his face and you're not going to have much space to work with. On the other hand, here is his situation. Now there's a bunch of space. There is no one near him, and there's an open passing lane. If there's an open passing lane, there's a bunch of space in front of him. This is the time to do the through ball, and you're going to be able to get the ball in front of him, lead your attacker, as well as make sure that he doesn't slow down. In this situation, similar to the last one, guys, once again, whole bunch of space in front of him. There's no one in the passing lane, and there's no one that's going to be able to react in time to intercept that pass. So it's the perfect time to do a through ball because you want to lead him and you don't want him to lose speed. If I would do a regular pass, it would still work, but you would lose so much speed that a defender might be able to catch up. In this next situation, most people would think this is a great opportunity to do a through ball. You have a bunch of space in front of him. There's no one in the passing lane. Even though there's a defender close to him, you can see that my guy has actually won the battle and he's actually in the lead and he's powerful enough to hold him off. But whenever you're near a goalkeeper, guys, very important. If your opponent decides to rush him out, he will get to the ball pretty fast. He will get to it as soon as I touch the ball because I did a through ball. With those goalkeepers, with those defenders, they can actually cover ground really quickly if their momentum is pushing them that way. You got to make sure that their momentum is pushing them away from the pass. If you see a defender nearby, it's okay as long as his momentum is pushing him away from the pass. For example, if you do a through ball and the defender's momentum is pushing him upfield, but you're actually doing a through ball downfield. If you're doing that cutback pass, very effective. Do the regular pass, very important. You see somebody in the middle of the pitch, don't try to lead him. You don't need to lead him so he has a really powerful shot. You can just do a regular pass and let it go through. And then one final example of a nice little through ball in there for a nice little goal. Next up, we got the 1-2 pass. The 1-2 pass is done by pressing the LB and the A button at the same time, or the L1 and the X button if you're on PlayStation. Guys, the 1-2 pass, once again in FIFA 19, is extremely effective, and you should be using it a lot. Very important here, you're seeing a situation. I'm going to do a 1-2 pass. You look at a player that you see is open, you do the 1-2 pass button prompts, and then you pass him the ball. And as soon as you pass him the ball, you're going to see that your player is making a run. Now, what is very important for you to be successful with this, and what I find a lot of people making mistakes is that they think that they have to pass it back to him really quickly, or you always have to pass it back to him. That is not the case, guys. You don't always have to pass it back to him. If you don't see an open space for either a regular pass or a through ball pass or some other form of passing, don't do it. There's defenders in the way, defenders in the passing lane. You don't have to pass it to him. Also, you can take your time. You don't have to necessarily pass it right back to him. You can pass it to somebody else. That guy is still going to be making that run until he's offsides. He will still be making that run. So you can pass it to somebody else or take your time, open up a passing lane, and then passing the ball. That is very important. Next, we're going to be talking about the driven pass. The driven pass is done by pressing the RB and the A button at the same time, or the R1 and the X button if you're on PlayStation. Driven passes are really effective because they get the ball to your teammate extremely quick. This is really good for those counterattacks. You want to get the ball up the pitch really quickly, do the driven pass, as well as when there's really tight windows. You feel like maybe a defender is going to be able to intercept it if you just did a regular pass because it's not going to be powerful enough. Do the driven pass, especially near the penalty area. Keep in mind, if you do this, a lot of the times the first touch won't be as good and you might lose possession. The last pass we're going to be talking about is the lob pass done by pressing the X button if you're on Xbox or the square button if you're on PlayStation. Guys, I find a lot of people underestimating the lob pass, guys. It's not just good for crossing, which I will have a tutorial on later, but it's also good for just buying you some time and some space. Lastly, guys, we got the lob through ball, which is done the same way as the regular through ball, but with LB or L1 button added to it at the same time. Guys, this is extremely useful for when you want to do a through ball situation. So there's a bunch of space in front of the person that you want to pass the ball to, but there is a defender in the immediate passing lane. If I were to pass the ball with a regular through ball or even a threaded through ball, it's going to be able to be stopped and intercepted because there's a defender in the way. So I have to put a little bit of air into it and lead my player. This is the perfect time to do a lob through ball. Be aware though that he will slow down a little bit more than if you were to just do a regular through ball, since he has to time the ball, he has to put it down, and then he has to start running. So sometimes it's not nearly as effective, but in FIFA 19, guys, very important, I found that it is much more effective. It works a whole lot better and your touches are much better. So I definitely do recommend it. When in doubt, do the lob through ball. You think somebody might be in the passing lane, do the lob through ball. Guys, it's very important that you try to do the lob through ball away from the defender. So try to aim it away from the defender. Here you're seeing a situation, rather than just doing it straight up the pitch, I'm actually doing it up the pitch and a little bit away from the defenders into that open space. So try to aim your shot prior to the pass. Try to aim it away from those defenders. That is the key into making a successful lob through ball. And as always, guys, when passing, if you're having some trouble, make sure to utilize that radar. See who's making those cuts, see who's open, and pass them the ball. But that is it, guys. I hope you guys liked this tutorial. If you did, please leave a like, comment, share with all your friends. Click on one of these boxes, check out some of my other videos, including my FIFA 19 defending tutorial, and make sure to check out my attacking tutorial that goes hand in hand with this. Thank you, guys.